See ya.
From the Elk and Elk Studios, Elk and Elk, working for every client every day. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Celebration Kia, come on. Come on, let's celebrate. You got it. Celebration Kia, come on. We gonna celebrate and have a good time.
Right now at the all-new Celebration Kia on Route 23 in Lewis Center. Get a great deal on a new car and have a good time. Bring us any trade and get up to a $6,000 discount off any new Kia in stock. Shop Columbus's largest selection of new Kias, where you can drive away in a sporty new 2020 Kia Soul for only $169 per month. This is not a lease. You own it for only $169 per month. And don't prejudge your credit. Get pre-qualified risk-free without affecting your credit score at celebrationkia.com. Don't miss your chance to get up to $6,000 off with any trade. Only at Celebration Kia on Route 23 in Lewis Center. 24/7 at celebrationkia.com. Stock number K20007 with approved credit through Key. $39.95 down. 84 months at 4.19% APR. Plus tax, license, and admin fee. Discount includes all factory rebates. Negative equity refinance. Expires 9/4/2020.
It's time for your moment of zen from the Ohio Lottery. First, a deep breath. Next, balance a penny between your fingers. Now, scratch your Ohio Lottery scratch-offs. Winners take home over $3 million a day in scratch-off winnings. That's over $1 billion in winnings a year. Now doesn't that feel better? Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Please play responsibly.
Wild Birds Unlimited.
Now's a great time to start seeing new birds in your yard. Wild Birds Unlimited has the best bird food in town and feeders designed by experts that are sure to attract some new feathered friends. Wild Birds Unlimited in Dublin, Westerville, Reynoldsburg, and Canal Winchester, or visit online wbu.com/Columbus.
Wild Birds Unlimited. We bring people and nature together.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Your station for news, traffic, and weather in Central Ohio. News Radio 610 WTVN, Columbus. WOTC HD2 Asheville.
An iHeartRadio station.
Hurricane expected to reach the Florida coast. To Miami, and ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Hurricane Isaias slamming the Caribbean and moving toward the east coast of the U.S. The hurricane battering the Bahamas, packing powerful winds over 80 miles per hour, heavy rain, and dangerous storm surge. The storm also hitting the Turks and Caicos. And in Puerto Rico, Isaias damaging homes and knocking out power for thousands, leaving neighborhoods across the island underwater.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declaring a state of emergency ahead of the storm.
I also sent a letter to President Trump requesting a federal disaster declaration. We just got word this morning that has been approved.
Clearing the way for FEMA disaster money. This is Florida already deals with the effects of the pandemic.
Florida now breaking its record for new daily deaths for the fourth straight day. And Georgia reopening the World Congress Center Convention Hall as a temporary hospital next week as the CDC reports an outbreak infecting hundreds of children at a North Georgia summer camp. Of about 600 campers and staff there, 260 testing positive.
ABC's Trevor Ault. Capitol Hill negotiations over stimulus relief at a standstill. Millions of Americans losing that key $600 benefit that's been helping them stay afloat.
One of the points of contention on Capitol Hill is this argument that the benefits are so high, people are making more by being at home than by working, and therefore have a disincentive to work.
ABC's Deirdre Bolton. President Trump says he may take executive action as early as today, banning TikTok.
For months, U.S. officials have feared that the Chinese government could use the app to gain access to users' private data. Some branches of the U.S. military have already banned service members from using TikTok.
ABC's Andrew Dimbert in Washington. You're listening to ABC News.
Two separate lawsuits were filed on Friday in an attempt to make it easier to vote in Ohio. One suit filed by the Ohio Democratic Party is calling on the Secretary of State to make it possible for voters to get an absentee ballot online or by sending in an email. The other suit, filed by groups including the American Civil Liberties Union, says that Ohio's requirement for poll workers to match up your signature is unconstitutional. Doctors at Cleveland Clinic are saluting the life of Connie Culp. She's the woman who received the first face transplant at Cleveland Clinic. This after her husband shot her in the face in a failed murder-suicide. Culp died this week at age 57. Since then, Cleveland Clinic has done 2 more face transplants. A portion of State Route 2 in Metter in Lake County has been named for Police Patrolman Matthew Mazzani, who was assisting another police officer during a traffic stop when he was hit and killed by a hit-and-run driver, later arrested and convicted. Metter Police Chief Ken Gunch says,
on June 24, 2018, Patrolman Matt Mazzani, in service to his community, was killed by an impaired driver on State Route 2 between State Routes 306 and 615. Matt made the ultimate sacrifice in performance of his duty that day.
Signs dedicating the highway in Patrolman Mazzani's memory were unveiled on Friday. Funeral arrangements have been made for a family of 5 from Elyria in Lorain County, all killed in a murder-suicide. John and Robin Nelson and their 3 children all will be remembered at a memorial service that is scheduled for next Saturday. All 5 of them were shot and died Tuesday at their home. Elyria police have not said at this point why they believe John Nelson killed his wife and children and then himself. They are still investigating the whole situation that happened at that home in Elyria. I'm Tom Moore.
Filling your news feed with the top trending news at the top and bottom of the hour. Columbus's news is on News Radio 610 WTVN.
If finding a high-impact hire is a serious goal for your business, use Indeed. Their flexible payment options mean better bang for your buck with no long-term contracts. Indeed will even give you a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post at Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
The Daily Zeitgeist is a podcast from the world's smartest and funniest comics and writers. It gets you caught up on the news without grinding you down.
There's so many like simultaneous threads of history that I feel like are coming together at once that I'm like, which one am I going to pick?
Yeah, let's live through all the history at once.
It sounds like a TikTok challenge. Live through all the history at once challenge.
Twice a day, they tell you everything you need to know about American culture without crushing your soul. Listen to the Daily Zeitgeist on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is it. The final weekend of Diamonds Direct's largest, longest, and most lavish sale ever. Now through Sunday only. Get an extra 20% off store-wide. All fashion rings, all earrings, all pendants, all bracelets, thousands of engagement rings, plus a special collection of designer jewelry flown in just for this. Extra savings across the board. We're breaking all the rules. Nothing's held back. Best prices of the year, best values ever, but you must act now. This extraordinary event comes to an end Sunday at 6 p.m. Only at Diamonds Direct.
On Polaris Parkway in front of Polaris Fashion Place.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road, just west of 315 if you haven't stopped by to visit us as of yet. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. He sits to my left. Hey, guys, have you ever seen a human head explode?
Yeah.
Because you're about to see it explode here after you listen to what we have at the top. It's unbelievable. Let me start with a few names, though. Okay, write them down. I'll let everyone get a second to get a pen and paper out there, especially if you live in Worthington. I'm talking to my fellow community there. If you live in Worthington, you need to remember these names. Charlie Wilson. Nikki Hudson. Amy Lloyd. You guys got those down? Charlie Wilson, Nikki Hudson, Amy Lloyd. Do you know who these guys are, guys? I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. Tell me, Eric. Would you please? I know who they are.
They are the 3 educators who somehow, some way, drew the conclusion this week while being on the Worthington School Board. And there's another question about that, how underhandedly this was done. But they voted out the Worthington and Columbus Police Department in their own schools.
Oh, that's
okay.
A good
So
idea.
remember them next time in an election.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It does make a lot of sense.
Well, so Nikki Hudson, okay, remember that name. She so eloquently put it, how do we become an anti-racist school district if we have police officers in the schools? You can't. I mean, how can you be anti-racist if you have police officers in there?
Police officers.
Yeah. But you know what, guys? It's always good to hear this in their own words, because I don't want to be accused of paraphrasing, and maybe I'm twisting it around. So let's go right to the bite here with School President Nikki Hudson and explain how they cannot have police in their schools. Go ahead, Em.
We didn't vote on it at June 8th, but we're likely to talk about it again or to bring it up later in the summer when we have the data. In between that time and now, we have passed what is entitled a resolution affirming our commitment to be an anti-racist school district and our commitment to social justice. I would challenge that anyone who thinks that you can have SROs within our schools and be an anti-racist school district doesn't understand what it means to be an anti-racist school district. So I do not appreciate the.
So, guys, that's her own words.
Her own.
You can't be anti-racist in your schools if you have police officers there. That's what our educators are telling our kids.
You know, I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying this.
No, you won't. Go ahead, Phil.
If the Worthington Police Department had a set of you-know-what, plums, I don't know. If they had a set,
sometimes, yeah.
I would tell the Worthington School Board that if something happens at the school, then you handle it. You handle it. Because we're not going to respond because we don't want to, cause the kids to have some emotional.
Oh, it gets worse.
Okay.
It gets worse. That was the president of the Worthington School Board, Nikki Hudson. Remember the name. Remember the name when you're going to vote. Right, Nikki Hudson. But just as bad, and I would argue kind of an embarrassment to himself, is what's his name here? Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson.
Is that common spelling on Wilson?
That is common spelling on Wilson. On Charlie Wilson. Now, as they were talking about this, there was, I guess, a couple months left on the contract with Worthington and CPD, and they were trying to determine what are they going to do for those couple months that have that are left on the contract. So one of the suggestions, kind of a middle ground, if you will, is to have an officer sit in his cruiser way off in the corner of the lot, okay, so as not to be seen by the kids, because you would not want the kids to see that. So Charlie Wilson here so eloquently puts it, he's okay with this if this is the middle ground, but we need to be prepared for those students who are going to be triggered with PTSD by the mere sight of an officer on their premise. Charlie, let's hear that, Charlie, in your words. And there's a little dead air here at the beginning of this.
So does that sound reasonably stated to you? Are there recommended changes you would have to that?
So, really, I'm hearing this for the first time tonight, but I am comfortable with that with one caveat, which is that we have in place a plan and people in case any of our students are truly traumatized and have some kind of PTSD response to even seeing a police officer armed and in uniform outside. Frankly, that worries me greatly.
Wow.
So you wouldn't want to have them on the property?
Wow.
I'm sorry?
You wouldn't want to have them on the property. I was candidly trying for some middle ground there.
I said I could accept that middle ground as long as we've got a plan for dealing with if we should have any students that are truly traumatized and triggered by this. This is very close to my heart. This is something
close to my heart.
Close to his heart.
Yeah.
The educator for the Worthington School Board voting out law enforcement in your schools and in your community. Let me tell you how nice the Catholic school system is, because my kids would never step foot in a school like that after people like that vote.
But you know what? They can take that a step farther. Like the Parkland shooting, was that the one that was in Florida?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And the one officer who was on the scene that chose not to go in?
Yep.
Well, then that one cruiser that might be in the far corner of the parking lot, when shots are fired or they need help, he can hide behind his cruiser the whole time.
Sure.
That would make it perfect then.
Yeah, and there's something a lot of people don't know, and we've talked about this. And if you want to talk about it as an officer, you can.
Yep.
But the Supreme Court has ruled that police are not under any obligation to respond to a call. Then a couple no, they're not.
True.
I mean, it's true. You can come up to a scene, see somebody getting shot, stabbed to death. You can sit in your cruiser and go, yeah, this looks a little too dangerous for me, and drive right on. You are fully immune from that. You are under no obligation. So if the police department say, you know what, we don't want to traumatize these kids while they're being butchered, slaughtered, beaten up, whatever's going to happen to them, we're just not going to respond. And it is not. They're not obliged to respond. I mean, it's a fact.
This whole thing is completely upside down. I thought we wanted community policing. That means you're going to
not anymore.
Not at a school.
Not anymore.
Not at a school.
No.
You can't have any interaction with the kids so you can see what a police officer
We're
does.
going to give them people.
Wait, we got to have that though to solve the problems in the communities that have issues, right? I thought we wanted cops out of the cars, not sitting in the cars. They're not supposed to sit in the cars. They're supposed to be out on foot, have interaction with the public.
They don't want them on the school ground.
Chuck, what world are you living in?
These folks are upside down.
They are. I mean,
there's the bizarro world.
It is. I mean, Charlie Wilson. Remember the name, guys. Charlie Wilson.
Who are they going to call when they have an active shooter?
They're going to call Charlie Wilson. He's going to come up there and go, wait a minute, let's put this
He's
down.
He's going to come up there with his counselors.
Oh,
right? With his counselors.
Oh, gotcha.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that really grated on me and his little thing is it might trigger an episode with our kids. Trigger
all they're
an
doing,
episode.
all they're doing is
that's
putting
what
that in their head.
That's when an active shooter gets in and
They're
starts. That'll
putting
be
that.
then.
Yeah, so see how that works with their PTSD.
But so let me ask you this, though. It doesn't trigger an episode when you see these marches in your own community, Worthington, who taken over the roads, who surrounded cars and impeded traffic. That doesn't trigger. But I'll tell you what, that triggered an episode within me.
Absolutely.
Come on.
We're going to have to stand up and start telling them what
They are now. No one is standing up. If you're in Worthington and you want to stay in that community, you need to stand up and be heard unless this is what you agree with. And if that's what you want, that's great.
I can't believe that the community of Worthington, the people that send their kids to school, agree with that.
I can't either. I can't. You know, there was one line, and I didn't pull it. I should have. And it was the board president, and I think it was Nikki Hudson. She said something to the effect that there's no need, and I'm paraphrasing on this one, there's no need to debate this anymore because a lot in our community don't agree with this, and there's no need to keep hearing the same thing over and over again from those who don't agree with it.
You know, if the kids are that emotionally unstable, then you better take away the violent movies, the videos.
Oh, no
all
video
that.
games.
No,
none of that.
because we don't want them to need counseling.
Right. Well, we are the owners of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and our active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, sometimes a little longer than an hour, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment and our safety. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you facts about our industry and ultimately help our listeners and customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, guys, we welcome back to the show. It's been a while, Big Al.
Big Al.
Big Al.
I've been fishing. I'm retired.
Real nice.
I can say what I want to say.
Wait,
now, too.
We're all retired, but we don't say what we want to say.
Well,
your son is not.
Well, that's true.
Big Al. He is a wonderful trainer, has had so much history in training local law enforcement here at our store as well. And we're going to hear about from him in the second half of the show about kind of a little bit of a deeper dive into the incident in Minneapolis with George Floyd and actually what happened there and what the autopsy is saying versus what you might be seeing.
The training aspects of it.
Right, and the training aspects of it. JC is going to get you caught up on some news like he always does, and I think we've already started, JC.
There's another one that I forgot to mention that's really important. So, okay.
All right. Big Ed sits to my right, and Big Ed, sorry to hear about your back still and stuff.
Thank you.
You know, and speaking of news, have you been following, Ed, this new group? They're calling it the media is calling it the Black Militia Group.
Yes.
They call themselves NFAC, and I'm going to say this slowly. It stands for Not Flipping Around Coalition. If you can read between the lines, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have been watching them. There's some
Apparently,
excellent people in that group, I want to say.
Apparently,
this very knowledgeable.
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, this group, who've self-entitled themselves as the Not Flipping Around Coalition, were in fact flipping around last week when they were protesting in Louisville and had a negligent discharge.
Yes. That was one
hitting three of their own people.
They explained that, Eric.
I fell out of my chair when you said that on the news.
Marching around with loaded, chambered.
They explained it.
They
explained it.
So, as you can imagine, they caught a little flack for that. You know? Yes.
Really?
So, the Grand Poobah, what's he call himself? The Master J What does he call
I
himself?
think he's a
here?
rap singer, isn't he?
No,
Master
Grandmaster J.
The great
Grandmaster.
the great
Master
Yes.
J.
That's what we'll call him, the great Poupon.
He is their leader, and he was so fed up with the negative PR from this that he came out and made a video, and we were so gracious for that we
saw
posted
that.
it on our Facebook.
Yeah.
That's the one where he's talking about the bullpup, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is 3 minutes of must-watch internet video. It is absolutely incredible. Actually, I have a different take on them now. If this is the leader I'm not
people
worried.
helping people, you know.
It's people helping people.
That's right.
This gentleman was out to set the record straight.
Yep.
And folks, if you know anything about firearms, you will get a laugh or two out of it. You have to watch it a couple times to pick up on all of it. But, yeah, that's something to watch.
Some of his language wasn't very good either, and I'm
Yes.
thinking you can't air that.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Well, you know what's funny? Since social media and Facebook has this mandate now of doing away with stuff that's not true, I'm surprised that they allowed this to play because nothing that the man said was fact-based. So I wonder how that works.
Well, the thing that disturbed me even equally as much as that, I wasn't upset that they shot 3 of them around because they're idiots, but they show this guy, full uniform, one of their members, leaning against a post, focusing his rifle with a scope on it on a police officer.
Yeah, it
in the
looks
building.
like, yeah.
And, well, but you see him flip the safety off. The safety on. I don't think he knows. I don't know. It doesn't look like he knows he's being filmed because he's taking careful aim in front of everyone. Other members with guns are walking around him while he's aiming at an officer on top of the building.
Here's the thing.
What?
There's 4 officers here sitting around this table. If any one of us saw that happen, what would you do?
He'd have been a dead man.
He'd have been a dead
I
man.
Pulled the trigger. You
He'd
just
been
can't
a dead
say,
man.
stop, don't do that. You may
Because
just
he's
fire.
aiming down on a police officer or on anybody for that matter.
Yep.
He'd be taken out.
We stumbled upon that video. It's out there on our Facebook page as of this morning.
Yeah, check
and
that out, folks.
It was a video
Look on
from
our
a cell
Facebook.
phone. We actually passed it along to Homeland Security because I don't know if they were aware
That
of what
this
was
is-
going on. And that was on kind of a back page of.
And it's obviously they have loaded guns because
Yeah,
one of their own shot 3 of their other ones.
And
so.
you can identify this guy pretty easy because on the back of his head it says "stupid."
Yeah.
right there. Yes.
No, but it's serious. This
Yep.
is really crazy.
That voice right there is JC, my good friend, sits to my right. We're kind of running out of time in this first segment, but JC, in talking about Worthington, let me just throw one other thing out there. If you've been in and around the Worthington community, and this goes back to when I was there, there is a rock on school grounds where you paint it Go Team or whatever the case may be, somebody's birthday, and it's been done for years. I mean, probably 40 years at least. It started out as a
I've seen
pebble,
it.
now
Yep.
it's like a
Yeah,
big
now
rock,
it's a
right?
big boulder.
So during the protests these last few weeks, it got painted, as you can imagine, with BLM and all kinds of anti-police
Yep, I saw
sentiment. But somebody went and painted Blue Lives Matter on it.
Yeah.
A refreshing moment until, and this is reportedly what happened, until someone at the school board or school district deemed that as inciting violence and ordered the school grounds people to paint over it.
So they were offended.
The school board, the same.
So we're not. I don't have meeting minutes. I don't have the exact stuff from that, but that's what's being reported on that.
Because they were worried about the PTSD.
Probably so.
Oh yeah. The blue line is going to take and
Do
offend
they have
the
a safe
kids.
place for them to go to for the snowflakes?
Yes. When we come back from the break, we're going to get to some more news with JC. We're on Target Broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Okay, gang, we got a hot topic today, as usual. Exactly, Kathy. What WTF? I almost said it on the air. Oh, boy. Anyways, give us your questions, your thoughts, your comments. We'll get them out there. Say hello to some friends out there. Mike Brooks checked in. How you doing, Mike? Good to see you. Mike Conley. Nina DiMatteo. There is no safe place in schools anymore, Nina. They've taken the police out. Kids are going to fend for themselves. They're going to all start coming to school with ARs in their backpack. Yep. Homeschooling. Home shooting.
Hey, can you tell Bob to hang till after the news if possible?
I can try.
Cindy?
well, you know what? Well, shoot.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can
you know what?
tell him,
I'll
but-
grab him right when we come back. You're going to have to do away with the news today.
Are you guys done interrupting me?
What's temp there?
Oh, I guess not.
76.
76? Okay.
And you have about 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, go ahead, Big Edward.
Are you sure? Okay. I don't want to interrupt your weather. Anyways, Cindy, how are you today? Good to see you joining in. And that's Cindy Lukens, by the way. I want to clarify that because there's another Cindy out there that probably won't listen anymore, which is fine. Nathan, Paul, Tim, my daughter Jessica, how are you, darling? I hope you're doing well today. Anyways, we got a big show. We got a lot to put into it. So, guys, give us your questions, your comments, and we'll put them out there. Hopefully, we're not going to have any problems with the internet today. I think we may have something worked out. Eric's been working diligently.
Here we go. Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. Scattered showers and storms likely, not quite as hot, high of 81. Tonight, scattered rain, breezy and mild, low of 67. For Sunday, mostly cloudy with more scattered rain likely in the afternoon, high of 82. Currently a nice 76 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Information 24/7 and on demand at 610WTVN.com. News Radio 610 WTVN.
My neighbor's car got stolen last night, right out of its driveway. We heard the dogs barking, we never paid them any mind. And Mary says she's gonna lock the door from now on when we go away. I've been walking around this farm, wondering if it's
You guys know the chorus here? Nope. Here it is. Wait for it.
time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking.
Welcome back to On Target.
Now, that goes on to say that she can afford it if she gives up drinking or something.
Yeah. That's all part of it.
Is there a problem with that?
That was Tammy, why not, right?
Yeah. Why not?
Oh,
Why
No,
not?
Miranda.
Why not?
Miranda Lambert. Jeez.
Hey, Lee, your daughter says hello, by the way, on
Hi, Lee.
Facebook.
She's a good girl.
Yes, she is.
Welcome
She's a
back.
good shooter, too, by the way.
Yeah, good.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric. Joined today in the LEPD studios, Big Ed sits to my far right, JC sits to my right, my immediate left, our good friend Big Al. Welcome back to the set. My father to our far left. Guys, before we go further, we gave you a couple names at the top of the show to remember. Worthington School Board members who voted against having police in the schools. I want to give you two names to remember as well. These are the two of the good guys on that board who voted against having them removed. Sam Shim and Jennifer Best. Both of them stood up amongst these crowds and said, I disagree with you. We need to continue to have law enforcement.
Amen.
Sam Schiff and Jennifer Best are
Hats
who we're
off.
going to need to support.
Hats off to them.
Guys,
on the show.
Seriously, really.
Bring 'em
Guys,
in.
we're going to go to Bob, who's been on hold for a while. Bob, you're on with On Target. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good today. Hey, talking about the NFAC and BLM, I just left the gun show at Westland Mall. You would not believe the number of T-shirts that I saw, NFAC and BLM T-shirts in there.
They're selling them?
No, they're wearing
No,
them.
people wearing them. I mean, there were a lot of those shirts roaming around in there, and
Wow.
it's, even with my mask on, you know, government-mandated mask, I could smell the weed strong in there.
Wow. You know what?
I'm afraid America's about to have a problem.
You, Bob, I think you're right. I think you're right. And you
We've
know,
got a problem. There's going to be an end to it soon.
And Eric, one more thing. I hope you can remember this. The baby goats are doing fine.
Okay. I got the cue on that. Hey, that is good to know. And actually, that's something we haven't, that is definitely worth noting. We're seeing a little more traffic here of people who we necessarily wouldn't normally see, but I will guarantee you, if they walk in the door here and smell like weed, they go right back out. We're not messing with that
Knowing
here.
the folks who are dealers in there. You're not required to sell to anybody. If you think,
Right.
I would be surprised. I mean, I guess money's money, but I mean, I wouldn't be selling to any of those people wearing that stuff. I wouldn't be saying, no, I'm sorry, I choose not to sell to you. Thank you very much.
Right. I hope people are.
Well, then you'd be a racist.
Probably so.
I'd be smart. That's not a racist.
Smart racist.
I don't care what color they are, but they're out there to
wouldn't matter. The fact that you don't want to
become
sell to
violent
them.
against our officers in our country. I'm not going to sell them something.
Thanks for the call there, Bob. JC, you got about 3 minutes to jam in 20 minutes in
No,
news.
I mean I have an hour of news here. This is all.
More time in this.
Yeah, I mean this is it's crazy. We talked about these the right. Okay, let's go on. That St. Louis prosecutor, that Kim Gardner, who prosecuted the McCluskeys, we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Oh, by the way, I've seen postings out there that, hey, they've dropped those charges. They have not dismissed the charges against the McCluskeys. The Attorney General of the state said he was moving to have them dismissed when wrote a letter to a judge, but those charges are still pending, so don't buy.
I thought I heard otherwise.
Yeah, well, you have heard it, and you can see the headlines, but when you read it, it isn't the truth. So you really check into that. Okay, so anyway, she's got a little bit more problems of her own, according to the news station there. That apparently she took several trips that she failed to disclose and report, including going to Portugal, some other towns outside. She was in St. Louis, going to Selma, Alabama, New Haven, Connecticut, Houston. The law requires any elected official, the St. Louis law, to report, even if it's personal travel, if that's paid for by themselves or by the public, they have to report it. And Missouri also has a state law requiring elected officials to report their travel. Well, guess what? She didn't report.
She did not report
She didn't
it?
report any travel that she went on, and she went on plenty. It's her staff that ratted her out. In 2018, 2019, wouldn't take phone calls, they said, couldn't reach her when she was gone. And guess what? Her trips are funded by a liberal organization called Fair and Just Prosecution.
Who would want that?
And guess who helped fund her election? George Soros, a George Soros PAC helped fund her election and partially paid for these trips that she went on. And she used this. She brought this up. No, I don't know if she knew it was gone, to generate all this outpouring. And her campaign sent out an email on July 17th that spoke of this case and then asked the supporters to rush a donation today to her and her campaign to signal their support for her case. But the McCluskey's attorney pointed out that via this campaign mailers, it linked the criminal proceedings to her personal, financial, and political funds and interests that she had. So now she's being investigated for criminal charges.
Good.
And a St. Louis judge also ordered her to hand over all communications related to her decision to charge. Guess what? The Missouri governor, Eric Greitens, she brought charges against him, but later dropped it for lack of evidence. Again, this, hey, let me get this out there. Look what I'm doing. And so now she's under criminal investigation for activity against them. And they want to get 2.5 years worth of her communications with George Soros, with the Missouri workforce. Anyway, this is this Kim Gardner who trumped up these things, and not our President Trump, who faked these things against it. But
Imagine once you dig into these things where it leads you. When we come back from the break, we're going to get to more news from JC, and we're going to get to Big Al, talk a little bit about some training and how that is done in law enforcement. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Am I on it? Okay. George Soros. What a guy, huh? Yes, Cindy, I bought Starbucks today, and I'm not real happy about it. I needed some coffee, and they never have what I like. It's always, you'll have to wait a little bit. Is that okay? And being in a little bit of pain because of my back, I've got a short fuse. And I told her, no, it's not okay. So she wasn't very happy when I got to the window. She probably spit in it, probably. Anyways. It's hard to find a good cup of coffee, and I don't think Starbucks has it, but they were the closest place for me to stop. Just my personal opinion. Jen, Brad Paisley song supporting first responders. What about it? I think I've heard it. Speedway is better. You're probably right, Cindy. I do like UDF coffee too.
I'll see how we go and stuff. Hopefully we'll get through this and then get on.
How's everybody doing out there for ammunition and guns? Are you able to find what you need? I know we're running low here. Eric said that we've got a little bit of ammo, but not a lot.
Only selling if you're buying a gun or on the range.
Well, according to him now, it's only he cannot get any ammo here unless you're buying a gun or you're going onto the range. Oh yeah, I believe it. It's the West Side. You gotta love it.
That's scary about the NFAC shirts.
Hey.
That is. I hope
Yes.
I'm just hoping that nobody sold to them, and I don't know.
Looking for 300 AC going on 2 months. Eric? Can't get it. Sorry, Josh.
Have him call and put his name on the list.
Call in, put your name on the list, and then when Eric gets some in, he'll give you a phone call back.
Jen Matthews is a good girl.
Jen, according to Eric, you're a good girl.
Her son is in the Army.
Your son's in the Army. Well, thank him for me for his service. Mike Conkle, how are you today, buddy? You being safe out there, I hope? Ammo is okay, expensive online. It is outrageously expensive. I got a message from
20
cheaper
seconds.
than, thank you, cheaper than dirt, and it wasn't cheaper than dirt, let me tell you. I think it went up like $10 a box. It's crazy. Mike, how's things going on the street out there? You guys having any issues up there in the northwest corner of the county? Let me know.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. My father, co-owner Phil. He sits to my left. Big Al sits to my immediate left. JC, a good friend for a long time, sits to my right. And Edward sits to his right. Top of the show, guys, we talked about Worthington School Board voting this week to vote out Columbus Police in their schools, Columbus and Worthington Police. A couple names I just want you to remember. Remember these names when you're at the ballot next time. Charlie Wilson, Nikki Hudson, and Amy Lloyd, all who voted against having law enforcement and law and order in your schools in Worthington. Remember those names.
It would traumatize.
Yes, it would traumatize the kids. So, guys, we're going into break. JC, you were talking news. You had a couple big things that are just incredible.
This is super big. I mean, super big. You guys all need to look at this. You need to pull it up online. The Democratic National Committee has now posted their draft platform. Well, they vote on this on the 17th. So we're talking 16 days from now, they vote on this. It's 80 pages long. Now, only 2 paragraphs relate to firearms, but that's because they said they're already in lockstep. They already know what they're doing, so there's anything. They just said, hey, here's what we're going to do. And basically, this is an agenda to really end the firearms industry. Think about that. This is what your Democrat, this is their platform, whoever gets in here. So here's just a couple of the highlights on just the 2 paragraphs. They want to criminalize private firearms transfer. So if you sell to somebody else, that makes you a criminal. They want to disrupt interstate commerce by criminalizing online firearms and ammunition sales. Right now, you can buy it and it's shipped to your home for ammo, but the other way, it's shipped to dealers, but they want to criminalize that. They want to institute an endless delay windows because they're not going to have, they'll be in control of the FBI if they get in, and they're going to say, hey, no one gets an approval or proceed no matter how long it takes until we get around to it. But none of this, hey, it's delayed, and all of a sudden you can do it. So they want to ban the manufacture and sale of modern sporting rifles. So anything that's an AR, that's their manufacture and sale banned. This is in their manifesto here, their goals. Ban the manufacturer, we talked about that, enacting licensing schemes to limit or inhibit the exercise of your Second Amendment rights. There are a lot of people who couldn't pay for high prices to do this, to do that, to get licenses to even own a gun. So they want to enact that. They want to enact ex parte red flag laws. So anyone can just call in and complain about somebody, and without any legal recourse, people can come in and just take away your stuff. They want to mandate home storage requirements under penalty of law. And the biggest thing, and this is what will destroy the industry, we've talked about it for years now, repealing the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, subject to industry's frivolous lawsuits. So that will subject the industry, and it's been said by everybody, within 18 months, every gun manufacturer in the United States would be out of business. Any gun that would be used to cause any kind of damage, they could be sued for it because they made this is this is in their platform.
Exactly, and this is in their own words. If you simply Google DNC draft.
What's their draft platform?
Platform. It comes right up, PDF file. You can read it.
And remember, this isn't Joe Biden, pushing forward his beliefs. This is the party platform for the Democratic Party.
That's the scary thing, because it may not be all just him. It's the people he's going to bring in.
Right.
And here's the thing, too. Exactly. We have a lot of people who come in our store who are good friends, who may be left-leaning when it comes to some of the policies, but they're gun people through and through. I mean, I can't imagine when they go to the polls, they're going to be torn, because there's a lot of good people who are Democrats, who are gun owners, who thrive in the industry, who carry firearms, who enjoy it. So it's not a black and white thing. And for your party to come out and say this, it's really going to put them in a quandary, Papa.
Helps if you put me on.
Yeah.
Who was the one presidential candidate that he's going to put in charge of all this?
Robert Beto O'Rourke.
The one who says we're going to take your damn guns.
Well, not just take them. I'm going to come in and confiscate them. So he's going to march into your house and take them. And this Biden's already, to get Biden off the hot foot, he put this guy going,